want some water. No, I told you not to use it.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my video. Today I'm going to be talking about how to help children get rid of whining and unfriendly voices. There is nothing more aggravating and more irritating than having a child whine and use unfriendly voices. And what do I mean by unfriendly voices? Well, the unfriendly voice, what I call here in my home, is that aggressive voice, the yelling, the disrespectful voice. We don't want our children to talk to each other that way. We don't want our children talking to us that way. And the whining and the unfriendly voices are habitual. So children have created a habit of dealing with conflict and with discomfort through whining and through unfriendly voices. So they have gotten some results in the past, and that is why they resort to these. And the way to train them out of it is little by little. I'm going to give you 2 techniques today. One of them is reenactment and having a chance to redo a voice or an activity or an action. That way you are giving them an alternative way of solving a conflict, an alternative way of being, so they can move away from that habitual whining and that habitual unfriendly tone of voice, because sometimes they're not even aware of it. And the second one is consequences. I use consequences for the more, loud whining, more aggressive, more yelling. I use consequences. I have not seen anything that works better to mold children's behavior than consequences. And so stay for those scenarios as well, because I'm going to share my kids acting out those scenarios. So the first set of scenarios is showing you how I do the reenactment and the do-over. I'm going to have my kids come in the video now and show you some scenarios. They are pretend scenarios, but they are very real and they have happened here in our home. And I think you can relate to them as well. And you can have your children watch as well. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my kids in and share with you what I do in these scenarios.
Put it on me. Put it on me. Put it on me.
Gabby, that's not the way that we ask for things. Can we try that again? How do we ask nicely for something?
Can you put it on me, please?
That's a lot better. Of course I can put it on you. But the way that you were asking before, that's not a very nice and respectful way of asking. It's not. When you ask for things the way that you first asked, where you're not being very nice, mommy's not going to be listening to those requests. Do you understand that? Yes? But when you ask nicely and you say please, then I will. What are you going to do next time when I don't respond right away and you want me to do something for you?
I see.
You're going to ask nicely? You know what else you could do? You can wait patiently, right? Yes. All right, come on, let's go ahead and put this on you. But always remember to ask nicely for what you want and need, okay? Go ahead and turn around.
I want some water. I want some water. I want some water.
Luke, that is not the way that we ask for water, Luke. We're going to do a do-over on that. How do you ask for water?
May I have some water, please?
Sure, you absolutely can. But what if I don't answer right away? If I don't get to you right away with the water, what will you do next?
Ask nicely.
You're going to ask nicely? But what if mom is doing something and she just can't get there right away? What will you do?
I wait patiently.
Yes, you're going to wait patiently. That's what we've talked about, Luke. Now, when you ask for things the way that you asked before, mommy is not going to be responding to that. That was disrespectful. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Luke. And now let's go get you some water.
Stop. Stop. I told you to stop. Stop.
Emily? Emily? I hear the unfriendly voice again, Emily. Granted, I see that your brother's doing something he shouldn't be doing, and he will be getting a consequence for that. But how should you be responding to him? I want you to do a do-over on that. How do you ask someone to stop? Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Lucas, can you please stop touching my crocheting project? I don't want you to ruin it because I've been working on it for a long time. Okay.
What if he continues, which is likely to happen? What will you do next? What will you do next?
Tell you?
Yes, you come and get me. The first step is asking that person nicely. If they don't listen, then you come and get an adult for help. But using those unfriendly tones of voices and those sounds you are making is not the appropriate way to handle conflict. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And if I see it again, I will be giving you a consequence for it. That is not the way we talk to our siblings. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Wait, is this my purse? Didn't I tell you not to use it? Well, I just like no. What? No, I told you not to use it. Fine. Don't touch it again. When I tell you not to use it, you stop using it. Don't use it again. Fine. It's not a big deal.
Emily? I see that you're having a hard time because Iris took your purse. But that is not the way that we ask for things back. We're going to be doing a do-over on this, but you're also going to be getting a consequence because this is not the first time you've done this. That is not the way you talk to someone. I'm going to have you ask for the purse back in a respectful manner. Granted, Iris shouldn't have taken what doesn't belong, and we're going to be addressing that. But that doesn't take away your response to her. Go ahead and ask her for the purse back.
Can you please give me my purse back and don't use it again?
Emily, that's not the way that we ask for our items back. Even if someone has what belongs to you, you have to wait until they give it back to you. And you have to ask nicely for it back. Go ahead and try again.
Can you please give me my purse back? Okay, thank you. And please don't use it again. Because I don't want any stuff to get broken.
Emily, that was a lot better. You waited for her patiently to give you the purse back and you asked nicely for her not to touch it. That is what I want to see. I don't want to see that unfriendly tone of voice. You were being very aggressive and you were yelling at her. That is not the way you talk to her or to anyone in this house. Because you behave that way, and because this is not the first time you've done it, you're going to be getting a consequence for this way of speaking. For the rest of the afternoon, you will not be playing outside with the rest of the kids. There is no outside play for you today. I am removing that privilege from you. I want you to think on what you did wrong. There's no fun activities for you in the afternoon. None. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
You know our rule about taking something without permission that belongs to someone else. What is the rule?
It's don't take what doesn't belong to you.
That's correct. Don't take what doesn't belong to you without permission. It's one of our rules here in our home. And because you did that, I want you to go sit in your room for a little while and reflect on that and think on that. Do you understand?
Are these my colored pencils? I told you not to use them. Can't you listen? I'm trying to borrow them. No, I told you not to use them. I just wanted to borrow them for a little bit. No one's using them. Because I don't want anyone to use them, I say don't use them. No.
Emily? Can I get the colored pencils, please? I see you're having a hard time because someone's using your things. That is not the way that we ask for our belongings back, Emily. Okay? I want you to do a do-over and ask nicely for your belongings, please.
Can you please have these back? Sure.
Emily, you have to wait until she gives it back to you. Come around this way. Come around that way. Ask for it nicely and wait until she gives it back to you.
May I please have my colored pencils back? Sure. Thank you. I don't want anyone using them because they might break at the tips of them.
Okay, Emily. Now, I do want you to understand, Emily, that is not the way that we speak to people. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Because you behave that way, because you spoke that way, and this has been something habitual for you, these special colored pencils are going to be going away for the rest of the month. I know how much you love using them, but they're going to go away. That is going to be your consequence for today. For the rest of the month, these colored pencils are going away.
Yes, ma'am.
I want you to ask Jade to please forgive you for the way you spoke to her.
Can you please forgive me?
I forgive you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Jade, it looks like she doesn't like when people use her colored pencils, so next time, would you please ask for them? Ask her to use them before you use them?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sweetheart. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed these scenarios that my kids put together. I like to use the reenactment where they do an action over, where they say things a different way. That way they're training themselves to speak differently, and they're becoming aware of the whining, they're becoming aware of the unfriendly voice. And as you continue doing this daily, they will start to change the way that they speak, and especially when you start applying consequences. So as you saw in the scenarios, when the children got very loud, very aggressive, and when I saw that the behavior wasn't changing even after I addressed it before, then I started applying consequences. I like to give children a chance to do things over, but when I see things escalate, when I see aggression, when I see continual whining, continual use of unfriendly voices, I will apply consequences. Consequences are a powerful tool to change behavior in children and to break bad habits. Once they understand that their actions have a consequence, they begin to change. I made a whole series on consequences and how I use them here in my home. For those scenarios, you saw that I used a removal of privileges consequence, and I also used a logical consequence where I removed the colored pencils for the rest of the month. I try to use a lot of logical consequences because they're related to the action and they are powerful, but I do go over the main forms and the most used consequences here in my home in my private community if you guys want to join me there, and I go with you step by step, sharing with you how I use and how I apply consequences here in my home. I also made a recent video on how I teach children to respect personal belongings and to share. And that video is also in my private community. If you haven't joined us there in our private community, I make amazing videos there that are private, that only my private members get to see. And we have an amazing community of mamas there. We have a forum where we speak, we share, and it's a really great fellowship. If you want to join us on there, I'll link it below in the description box. I hope that this video provides you with some guidance on how you can stop the whining and the unfriendly voices in your home. It is trained over time with practice, with consequences, and always remember that children need connection. And there are times where you don't need to apply consequences and you don't need to apply a do-over. What that child needs, they're having a bad day, let's just give them a hug. maybe go wrap them up in a little blanket and lie down with them in the bed. You know, there are times where it's just they need the connection with an adult. They're having a bad day, and that's all they need at that moment. So be wise, whether it's connecting with that child, whether it's having a do-over or applying a consequence. Think on the most appropriate way to handle the situation. It's always going to be different. There's going to be so many different scenarios, and only you know your children. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.